Surviving in a zombie apocalypse could be casually described as challenging. I think I would probably describe it more accurately as brutal and unforgiving. Unfortunately, there are no wandering and wise warriors who will wander into your world to give you advice on how to survive. Fortunately, I've made a short list of 3 easy rules to surviving in State of Decay 2. These rules aren't in any particular order of importance because they are all just stuff you want to keep in the back of your mind as you play. That being said, let's get right into it with rule number 1. Rule number 1 is be quiet. The amount of noise you're generating is a key mechanic in State of Decay 2. Almost everything you do makes noise, and noise attracts zombies. You'll want to keep an eye on how much noise you're actually making at any given time because the louder you are, the more likely you are to be interrupted or detected by the undead. The amount of sound you're making is indicated on the minimap in the bottom left of the screen. On this map, sounds being generated in your area are shown as pulsing white circles. The louder the noise, the bigger the circle gets, and anything mean inside that circle will hear it and come to the center of the circle to investigate. A zombie that hears you will be indicated by a little yellow dot. It's a flat yellow, but when they see you, they become an active threat and the dot flashes red and yellow. There are 2 big threats when you're trying to be quiet. The first is locked doors, because you have to bash them in, and that understandably makes a lot of sound. The second big threat to your health, or your attempts, is the screamer, who, if they detect you and get close enough, will scream, and this noise is very loud. Keep in mind that freak zombies are attracted to sound too. That includes the Juggernaut and the Ferals, which are the most dangerous enemies in the game. Rule number 1 in brief then is just to be aware of how much noise you're making, and if you have to make a lot of it, just kind of expect zombie reinforcements. Rule number 2 is be prepared. Being prepared is the defining factor between your survivors walking away from a bad situation and them ending up as high-protein zombie chow. This rule is a little more complicated, so I'll break it down into 3 parts. Part 1 is your survivor's readiness. Make sure the character you're playing as isn't tired or injured. You can tell if a character is tired by looking at their stamina bar. If there are little Z's next to it, then they need to lie down. A tired character has a smaller stamina pool until they rest. The longer you wait to let them take a break, the worse this disadvantage gets. Simply switch to another character, and the tired one will automatically go rest. Also, try and be aware of how long you've been using the same survivor. They may be close to being tired if they've been out for a while. If you're unsure how long it's been since you started using them, just play it safe and switch to somebody else. You can check to see if your character is injured on both the health and stamina bar. There is a little symbol of a bandaged head. If you have Infirmary Level 2 or a cast making mod installed, your character will heal themselves passively as they rest. You can also use a basic infirmary to heal injuries, though this will cost you some of your medicine resource. Upgrade to Infirmary 2 as soon as you can so you can avoid using injured characters or valuable supplies. Part 2 is your equipment. Make sure your equipped melee and firearm are fully repaired. Go to your workshop and select the weapon repair node to fix any damage they may have sustained in their last adventure. Weapons do not repair over time, so this is the only way to make sure that they're always in top working condition. Next, make sure your field kit is full. In other words, you need to sort out your inventory. Make sure you have a full stack of healing and stamina items. Put away anything you won't need in your locker so your pack is as empty as possible. Make sure your gun is at the very least fully reloaded before you put any additional ammo in your backpack. Also, if you can, make sure that it's silenced. Lastly, if you aren't sure what to expect on your mission, bring some spare ammo and maybe some throwables and noisemakers. Make sure your kit matches your objective and switch it up depending on what specifically you're going to go do. Part 3 is your car. Your car is not just a convenience, it is, in fact, a crucial tool to success in State of Decay 2. Check to see that your car isn't smoking and has over half gas. If the car looks dinged up but isn't smoking, just put a repair kit in the trunk so that if it takes a lot of damage in the field, you can get it running long enough to get it back to your base or to an outpost. The same holds true for gas. If it isn't full but not quite low enough to justify using a gas can, just put a gas can in the trunk so you're prepared for an emergency later. Do not, and I cannot emphasize this enough, do not get stuck in the middle of nowhere without your car. Take care of it like you would take care of any of your other survivors. Do these 3 things as much as possible, and it'll be very hard for zombies to catch you in truly dire straits. Being prepared is key. Rule 3 is fairly simple. Loot everything. Loot is the blood that courses through the veins of everything you do in State of Decay 2. You need to loot to find weapons, ammo, support items, and quest items. To make improvements to your base, you need to loot for building material. To maintain your survivor's health, you need to find rucksacks of food and medicine. Your car can't run without gas, so you need to loot for that too. Basically what I'm saying is at the beginning of the game, you cannot possibly loot enough. If you can avoid it, don't ever come back to base with empty pockets. You want to be maximizing the efficiency of your time in the game, and so you want to come back with valuable supplies every single time you come back. When you come back to base fully laden like this, there's a simple way to transfer your pilfered goods without having to run all over the place. Simply park your car in one of the highlighted yellow parking zones in front of your home. Then go to the trunk and use the transfer to base option. This will send all of your newly acquired supplies to your storage locker and all rucksacks to storage. Just make sure you aren't overfilling your storage space. Overfilling will cause you to periodically lose resources. Lootable containers flash on screen to make them easy to spot. What you'll find inside varies widely, but you can usually make an educated guess about what lurks within based on what kind of container it is. Refrigerators will have food, and toolkits will have building supplies or scrap, and so on. Based on the container, you can probably guess. As you play, you'll develop a feel for what kind of stuff can be found in what kind of containers. If you need to find a specific kind of loot, the map can help. Climb up one of the towers in the game to scout the surrounding buildings. Then, when you're in a safe spot, because the game doesn't pause when you go to the map, take a look at the world map and hover over the building's icon. In the top left, it should display with a little icon what kind of loot you can expect to find in that building. Apart from the 5 main icons, food, medicine, building supplies, ammo, and fuel, you might notice an icon that looks like a hammer inside of a gear. This indicates a building that has more or less random stuff. You never know what you're going to find in these kind of buildings. In summation, then, Rule 3 is just to loot everything. Always be on the lookout for any useful gear, and don't leave anything behind that you think might come in handy later. So those are my 3 rules for beginners in State of Decay 2. I hope it helps you survive out there, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. Make sure you're taking care of yourselves, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.